It's time for Twig This Week in Google. Jeff Jarvis is here. Kevin Marks joins us as well. Stacy has the week off. We're going to talk about all the news from Google. And in fact, a surprise, the Pixel's selling better than anybody imagined. We'll face off the Google Home and the Amazon Echo. This should be fun. And we'll talk about PubSub, PubWub, MEBSub, HubSub. You know what I'm talking about. It's finally part of the W3C. It's all coming up next on Twig.
Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
Bandwidth for This Week in Google is provided by Cachefly. CACHEFLY.com. This is Twig, This Week in Google, episode 381, recorded Wednesday, November 30th, 2016. Bikinis in the Man Cave. This Week in Google is brought to you by FreshBooks, the super simple cloud accounting software that's giving thousands of freelancers and small businesses the tools to save time billing and get paid faster. Try it free at freshbooks.com/twig. And by Blue Apron. Blue Apron will send you fresh, high-quality ingredients to cook delicious meals with simple step-by-step instructions right to your door. See what's on the menu this weekend. Get your first 3 meals free with free shipping by going to blueapron.com/twit. That's blueapron.com/twit. It's time for Twig This Week in Google, the show where we get together and discuss the Google, the Facebook, the Twitter, and whatever else is going on in this wild and wacky internet world. Jeff Jarvis is here, professor of journalism at CUNY, the City University of New York. He's also the author of wonderful books like Public Parts, What Would Google Do?, Geek Sparing Gifts, Reinventing News. Hi, Jeff.
Hi. How are you? Good to see you.
Good to see you. Also joining us, Stacy has the day off. She's a little under the weather, so we have Kevin Marks from his garden, where there's an occasional flyover.
Buzzed by a prop plane earlier. That was very strange.
It was weird. Kevin has worked everywhere, including the Google, Apple, British Telecom, the Beeb.
I've never asked you, Kevin. Mm-hmm. As employers go, which was your favorite?
Oh, that's a good question.
That is an interesting question.
Let me set the. I don't mean in terms of the just kind of a gestalt and nice place to be, and you'd recommend it to others, kind of thing. Not the specifics of your job.
The big company things. I mean, that's interesting. I think Salesforce and Google were both very good employers from that respect. Apple was fairly good, but a bit weird because of the internal chaos stuff.
You were in Apple before Steve left, during Steve's.
I was there when
exile.
Just when Steve came back.
Right after he came back. Okay.
I joined April '98, and a week later they launched the iMac.
So there was considerable chaos at that time. He was really revamping the company.
There was a fair bit of chaos there, but also there was Apple's sort of org structure was very much a court org structure. So there was different groups that were playing to Steve effectively and competing over stuff, and it was that part of it was very chaotic. And that, that's always a problem with companies to some respect, but it was very much, my example was we set up a wiki inside QuickTime to discuss our project plans and was told by management to take it down because the apps team could see what we were thinking, and that would be bad. So that was, that was my example for slightly oddness of Apple, but Apple had a lot of great things too. We did some good stuff there, but
it's kind of a unique way of doing business, isn't it? But every company has its own style, and Apple's style was we don't want interdepartmental communications.
Well, but it comes from being the hardware company and being correctly paranoid about accidentally leaking products ahead of time.
Right.
Because if you're a hardware company, that's the worst thing you can do because it destroys the demand for the current product at the point where it's at its most profitable, which is once you've got the manufacturing running smoothly and your costs are going down, then you bring the new product out, and the beginning of that ramp, you're losing money on it as you're ramping stuff up, but then you get to a point where it's profitable and ramps down, and then you bring the next one in. So if you leak the new product before that crossover happens, you basically destroy the company. And this isn't theoretical. Osborne did this. Palm did this themselves.
Right.
So that's sort of where Apple's mindset is, because that's the kind of products they're selling. And whereas Google doesn't have that problem because they're not well, they may be starting to get a bit of that because they're starting to sell hardware, but basically that's not their primary source of revenue. So they can afford to be laxer about the terms of internal communication stuff. And so they started from the idea that everyone in the company should know what's going on most of the time. And to the time that did change was when they started working on Android, and then because they were in that same hardware space, that team was locked off in a separate building and didn't communicate much. So that's, there is a dynamic there that fits the kind of product you're making, because you can destroy your business in that way. And similarly, whereas Salesforce was very much about future product roadmaps and what's coming out and what we're going to do next year, and they're comfortable doing that because they've basically got although they've got competitors, their core customers are expecting to know what's coming next year and look forward to that. And that was something Microsoft historically did. Microsoft's way of crushing a competitor was not to surprise them with a new product, but when their competitor announced something, they would say, "Oh yeah, that'll be in the next version of Windows. You don't have to worry about that." And that was their way of distracting from the competition.
Microsoft had other structural issues, though. They had divisions fighting amongst themselves for priority, and so sometimes, if the Office division was powerful, they could keep the hardware division from putting it on the hardware. There's all sorts of internecine warfare going on. I wonder Apple really kind of showed the value of secrecy, and I think a lot of companies have learned from Apple. But I wonder if secrecy is the best way to run a company,
especially not for your customers.
It depends on the kind of company, yeah. And I think that's the other. Somebody wrote a critique of Apple recently, saying that one of the reasons people are getting disappointed with Apple now is that they don't have competing divisions. They focus everything, which means that they're focusing on everything on iPhone and they're neglecting the Mac. There hasn't been a Mac Pro update for 3 years. What the new MacBooks that came out weren't as focused on the sort of high-end users, the video makers and people like that, as previous ones were, and that constituency is getting grumpy. But because they were always a small part of the business, and because the Mac division isn't sort of separately competing, it's just sort of a part of the whole company, and the company moves resources around. It's harder for them to say, yes, we need to make the best Mac we possibly can, because the company will be like, no, the engineers are focusing on the next release of iOS at the moment, because that's much more important.
Right. And then there's Google. What the hell? I mean, it's different. Its structure is very different from when you were there, I'm sure, because of Alphabet and now Google. It's clear that Google's management is always trying to find a way to stay nimble and innovative as you grow into a bigger, hidebound, often company.
Well, also, something that Google did, and I think still does, was the idea that just because we're big, we shouldn't try and introduce layers. We should keep the thing uniform. So the idea of TGIF, where they have a company-wide meeting now on Thursday for time zone reasons, but historically on Friday, where the founders get up on stage and anyone in the company who wants to come along can listen, and those who aren't present can watch it over a stream and can ask questions of the founders. That's something the startups do. Scaling it up to a company the size of Google, where you've got tens of thousands of employees around the world, is kind of a crazy thing to do, but they did it, and they try to keep that focus so that anyone could walk up to the mic and ask Sergey or Larry a question. And as far as I know, they still do that. I haven't, they're fairly good at not leaking these things, but as far as I know, that does still go on. But it was something that was a challenge as the company grew, because it's always hard if one person can walk up to the mic and complain about something and derail the whole company for 10 minutes. That's the sort of downside of that model. But it works to some extent. I mean, the other thing that Google does a lot of is not try and avoid the strategy tax you're talking about from Microsoft. So not let one team constrain another. And that can be a good thing, but it means we end up with 5 separate chat clients on our Androids, because Google's got 4 different teams building different versions of them, which is kind of odd. I mean, what Apple will do is they'll make a new one every 2 years and throw out the old one. So there's sort of several generations of dead iChat and FaceTime, and now it's iMessage, and they just throw away the whole product line. Whereas Google will just have 3 or 4 competing ones, so that if I want to receive an SMS on my Android, there are 3 or 4 apps that could potentially do it, depending on which one I last spoke to that person in.
What's pleasing to me, and we have a number of stories about this, is how well Google has handled its new phone. This was a big departure for Google. The Google phones, the Google Android phones were really developer platforms with the Nexus line. And they decided to kind of abandon the Nexus line and create these phones that were priced just like Apple's iPhones. And even though they were only in Verizon, also attempting to kind of compete as flagship phones against the other flagship phones. And apparently have done quite well. Some stories here. Morgan Stanley is predicting the Pixel smartphone will generate Google almost $4 billion in revenue next year. Now, that's still dwarfed, of course, by Apple, but that's a good business. Apple sold 212 million iPhones in 2016 for $137 billion.
4 billion sounded big to me,
but well, 4 billion is big if you have a lot of businesses. You know, Microsoft always says, you know, we're looking for billion-dollar businesses. Well, this is a billion-dollar business. There's no question about it. But even if Morgan Stanley is low on its estimate, they think they're going to sell about 5 or 6 million Pixels. And indeed, according to Don Reisinger writing in Fortune, the Google Pixel trounced the iPhone on Black Friday. Pixel activations almost more than doubled on the Black Friday weekend compared to the number of activations in the 4 preceding weekends. iPhone 7 activations only up 13%. Samsung, this is from mobile apps analytic company Localytics. Samsung's Galaxy S7 saw 36% growth in activations. That's Black Friday, November 24th through Cyber Monday, November 28th. Just a 4-day period. So a lot of people bought Pixel phones. I don't know if they bought them at Verizon, if they bought them online. Are you happy with your Pixel now, Jeff?
I am. I absolutely am. Once I've got the Waze problem fixed, yeah.
I like it a lot.
It is a nice phone. The battery is very good.
It's kind of a deceptive phone. It's deceptive because it feels very average.
Nothing looks special about it.
Yeah.
No.
But it grows on you.
Yeah, it does. No, it feels it's good hand candy. It feels good.
It's got a 4K screen, has it? Am I remembering that right?
No. The Pixel XL does. The Pixel.
Oh, the XL.
The small Pixel has a 1080p screen, and yet both are used for Daydream, Google's VR headset.
But it's got better GPU, so that it can do higher frame rates for that stuff, right?
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, it's a pretty fast little, snappy little. I like the little one. I had the XL, and I now have the regular small one. And I like the small one. It's fun. It's kind of funny. I mean, they have a phone that's compact is a new idea for me, but I like it. It doesn't get in the way. You have the XL, right?
Yep. I'm still running the original.
You're on a 5X or a 6P? You're a 6. 6. You're Shamu.
6. The
killer phone.
But yeah, again, it's the 4K screen that makes it really nice. That's something that I really like.
So success for the first phone that Google really did all by itself, didn't go out to a partner to make. I mean, they did have a partner make it, but they designed it themselves and engineered it themselves.
Well, if you don't count Motorola when they owned Motorola, but yeah.
Yeah.
Because that's still a nice phone range.
It is. Even in fact, we were talking offline on Twitter because I guess your son needed a new.
Yes, his phone broke. He dropped it.
And your other son had a Motorola. What was it? A Z Pure, Z Play.
Z Play, yeah.
Z Play, and liked it. And I suggested maybe that would be a good phone. Did he
got it? I mean, he does like it. Yeah. He's a big fan. He'd had the Nexus 5 before.
Well, this is definitely a step up on that.
So it's different from that, but also he really liked the fast charge. That was a killer feature for him because he's always dashing around from place to place. So that's I suppose all the new phones have that, but that was his. Wow, this is much better than my previous phone. Feature.
Yeah. What we don't have information on is Google's other new products. They just started shipping the Google Wi-Fi. We're going to get ours, the new 3 units. We're going to get ours next week. What about you? Did you order it, Jeff? What happened?
No, I can't because I missed. I was like 10 minutes too late.
Like everything else that's sold out. How about the Google Home? That was on sale for under $100.
I paid $30 more than I should have for that.
Yeah. Do you have it?
The home? Yeah, I haven't opened it.
You're trying to decide. If you already have an Echo, you don't need the Home. Here's a funny video made by a guy who has both. and he got them to interact with one another. What's his name? Let me get his name here. Adam Jakowenko. And he posted this on YouTube. He says, I decided to have some fun with my Echo and Google Home. Listen.
Okay, you can say.
Alexa, what's on my calendar tonight?
Tonight, there is one event. At 6 p.m., there's Hey Google, what's on my calendar tonight?
You have a calendar entry today at 6 p.m. The title is Alexa, what's on my calendar tonight?
You hear how much better the Google speaker is.
Tonight, there is one event. At 6 p.m., there's Hey Google, what's on my calendar tonight?
You have a calendar entry today at 6 p.m.
I'm just mad I didn't think of
title
this.
is Alexa, what's on my calendar?
I have an
I
Echo
love
and a
this.
Google Home sitting next to each other.
I just friggin' love this.
There is one event.
I presume this could go on forever.
Hey Google, what's on my calendar tonight?
You have a calendar entry today at 6 p.m. The title is Alexa, what's on my calendar tonight?
It could go
is
on,
interesting
obviously,
to
forever.
see that they seem to have incorporated some of that better voice tech we were talking about last time I was on, a month ago or so.
The sound of it. Yeah, it's quite good.
Yeah.
I think both of them sound fairly natural. I use the I bet you if we see the numbers for the Amazon Echo, particularly for they were selling at the Dot for $40 over Black Friday. I suspect we'll see massive sales for that. That's going to be a huge. I think we saw, what did they say, 2.5 million Amazon Echoes were sold, and the bulk of them this year. It's taken off this year.
Huh.
Let me see if I can get it. No, but Amazon doesn't say what their sales are. Let me see if I can find this. Somebody mentioned what they thought that they had sold. Well, I don't see it, but 3 million units. This is from GeekWire. No, that's April though. No, there's more. There's got to be something more recent than this. Anyway, it's been a very successful 2 years in, and with these great drops in prices, I have a feeling, according to Business Insider, Echo and Alexa could add $11 billion revenue by 2020. Yeah, well, I don't know about that, but these projections for 6 years out seem. Wait a minute, 2020 is only 3 years out. Never mind. It's moving along.
I just bought the 3-pack. It's back on sale.
Oh, good. Well, we'll have a review for you. I use an Eero, and I'm very happy with it. This seems to be very much in that mold, kind of a mesh Wi-Fi network. One thing that Eero does really well is they are very aggressive on updating the firmware regularly and tweaking it regularly to make it work better with the devices in your home and so forth. And I'd be curious to see how Google does that.
You have a large home, right?
Yeah. It's more than 4,000 square feet, 4,500 square feet. So it's quite, and it's all one floor, so it's quite spread out.
Oh, okay, that's a good test.
So it really is. Yeah, there are on the periphery. It's really hard. Certainly, a single router does not make it, and I've tried all sorts of ways of extending it. But the best has been Eero so far. But I have, what's nice is I have two networks. I have a Comcast Business Class network and a Comcast Consumer network. So the Eero right now is on the Comcast Consumer network. When the Google comes, I'll put it on the Business Class network, and we can have we'll have a good test bed for that. You saw, of course, and I poo-pooed it a little bit. Google did release test results that said their Wi-Fi solution was the fastest of all the new mesh solutions, but that was a test paid for by Google. It didn't impress me particularly with its rigorousness. I'd like to see for myself. So we'll have a review probably by next week for you. Here's an interesting number, as long as we're talking big numbers. According to Android Police, Google Allo was downloaded 5 million times in the first 5 days.
It's hard to believe that so many people knew it existed.
You downloaded it. I downloaded it. We talked. Have you used it since?
No.
Nope.
Yeah. That's probably pretty much the problem. It's once at the top of the Play Store's app rankings, it's now below position 200. The download count stalled.
How does it compare to Signal?
Well, it's not okay. So Signal is
No, I mean in terms of downloads, because I'm seeing everyone I know is signing up for Signal.
Signal now. Signal is getting the Trump bump. Get your encryption while you can. Signal is, of course, the one everybody recommends. Moxie Marlinspike has done a very good job with it. It uses OTR, uses all the proper buzzwords, and it's open source, so it can be validated. In fact, others are using the Signal code platform, including Facebook's Messenger, I think, and WhatsApp. However, I don't know what the downloads are, because most people, I mean, do really most people think, oh, I've now got to run out and get encryption? Well, apparently so. This article, I'm not sure if it's fake news or not, the encrypted chat app that's booming in the post-Trump world. I don't know, people are going to run out and get this just because of the...
Well, just empirically, you know, I'm seeing lots of people sign up for it because the slightly weird thing about it for an encrypted chat app is it tells you when your friends sign up if you have their phone number.
Right, and that's frankly a flaw.
It's using the same weird model that WhatsApp uses and Allo uses, which is your phone number is your identity.
So on the App Store right now, Signal Private Messenger has a mere 1 million downloads. So it does not have the downloads of Allo. Allo bested it by 500%. Allo has encryption, but it's not. You have to turn it on. It's not on by default. Signal, of course, is encrypted all the time.
Yeah. No, by default, Allo routes everything through Google so that it can use the assistant.
Right.
Yeah.
Which doesn't bother me. Even in the Trump era. I don't know. It's so funny. I mean, I think that's kind of a knee-jerk reaction. I don't know if... I mean, I guess... It's principle. But how will we know if it's time to say, oh, I better encrypt everything? I'll tell you, the Snoop... You know what? The bigger one than Trump's election is the Snoopers Charter in Great Britain. Which is established a precedent in the Western nations for unprecedented snooping and deprecation of encryption as well. And so that would be if you lived in the UK, right, Kevin? Would you say, let's go out and get Signal now before it's too late?
Yeah, no, in fact, my friends at the Open Rights Group are saying exactly that. Yeah, they've been pushing against this for a long time because they've been trying to bring this into law for ages, because it's not unprecedented. If you remember, the Snowden revelations basically said that this was going on, and this was sort of retrospective legalization in the same way that US retrospectively legalized AT&T spying on
the
things.
Apologists say is, no, this is good. Now we know what they're doing, and this is all regulated now, because in the past it's all just been everybody's doing it without any regulation. That's, in fact, if you look at the petition, because I guess in the UK now they have that petition thing that started in the Obama administration here in the United States, where you can go onto a government site and sign a petition. And the petition exceeded the number of signatures very rapidly. It needed 100,000 signatures for Parliament to consider it for debate. It has 147,000 as we record today. However, no move from Parliament to debate it. And the government response is the Investigatory Powers Act, that's the Snoopers Charter, dramatically increases transparency around the use of investigatory powers. It protects both privacy and security and underwent unprecedented scrutiny before becoming law.
Yeah, but it's still there's the Open Rights Group says they've taken it to the European Court of Justice, and they're awaiting a ruling on that.
Huh. It's not going to be overturned, you think? In fact, it's a roadmap for the United States and other Western nations to do exactly the same thing. I have to think Congress, Congress, is eyeing this, saying, "Hey, they got it through in the UK." Does it out? I should read the bill more carefully. I know the main thing is it requires ISPs to hold everything you do, including what sites you visited, for more than a year. It gives all sorts of British authorities, including like the food safety authorities, the right to ask an ISP for what you've been doing on your phone or your computer, even without proving that you're up to no good. But I do wonder what its standing is on encryption. Does it block encryption? I seem to remember having read that.
I think it requires you to hand over encryption. Well, they've already had the thing to hand over encryption keys.
Okay, so backdoors.
No, not backdoors. They're basically if they got something that of yours that is encrypted, they can demand an encryption key from you.
Ah. Okay, so that's been ruled by courts in the United States to be a violation of the
right. You can use your finger, but not your key.
Fifth Amendment. Right. It's unlawful search and seizure. Fifth. Fourth. Yeah. All right. What's the fifth? Probably something.
I take the fifth.
Plead the fifth.
Self-incrimination.
Self-incrimination. Fourth is unreasonable search or seizure.
Search and seizure. Yes.
Which of course, the UK doesn't have that. So
You don't have any of it.
No, we have a Bill of Rights, but it doesn't include these things. Yeah,
it does introduce a FISA-like court, a panel of judges who can oversee, which wasn't there before. So I think that's one of the arguments that this is better than the kind of ad hoc system. Okay, here's the encryption. Let's see here. This is the Computer World UK. Still has encryption problems. Parliament continues to grapple with end-to-end encryption in the Investigatory Powers Bill. This is pre-passage, so I don't know.
Yeah, I'm looking for the Open Rights Group analysis of the completed one, but.
In any event, this does seem so. You're.
It is scary. It's a scary precedent, and it's something that that worries.
The fear would be that they would outlaw strong encryption like Signal. There's no way Signal, which is made in the U.S., would kowtow to British laws putting a backdoor in it. In fact, Moxie Marlinspike would offshore it before he'd do that even in the U.S. So it will never. Let's presume it would never have a backdoor. Would it then be outlawed in countries that, Russia says we're not going to allow strong encryption without a backdoor? So
that's where the sort of internet filtering stuff, because they may demand that the app stores are filtered as well. So there's that aspect of things.
Right. Yeah, you can't find it. But I think there'd be a brisk black market in stolen APKs.
but this is part of the point. I mean, so Maciej Czechowski was talking about this last week, basically saying, okay, we've got until inauguration to purge the databases before the government decides to start seizing them. And that's he's basically saying, if you work for a large company and you've been keeping user records, your best bet is to delete them so that you can say, I don't have those user records. Because at the point that the government passes a law saying we can access your data and you can't tell anyone we've accessed your data, it's too late.
In fact, all companies should, at this point, establish a policy of deleting logs on a regular basis, preferably as quickly as possible.
Yes.
That should be the next step on something.
It's basically asking for a cultural change, which is, historically the engineers like to log things, and logs were cheap, so you keep logs and everything to try and work out so you can always go back and see what happened. And there's been a push from the EFF and the Open Rights Group, people like that, for a while, saying don't keep logs for a long time, delete them as soon as you can so that they can't be taken. And so the UK government is requiring ISPs to keep logs on people for 18 months now. I can't remember exactly what the time period was in the IP bill, something like that. And there's but they're required to do that by law in the UK. The ISPs are, and but the thing is that the large companies have been keeping more than that and for longer, because that's what they use to do targeted advertising and behavioural targeting and all that stuff. So they keep it around on the off chance they'll come up with a way to come up with something clever for it. And that is the stuff that, Cory Doctorow has called it toxic waste for a while. Maciej did a great one of his talks about this as well, basically saying you are creating liabilities for people by keep storing this data on your servers, and you should flip the default. Do not store behavioral data about people, and if you can avoid storing identifiable data, you should avoid that too. And that is the challenge moving forward, as you start to assume that the challenge is you can't really compete with a nation state. If you've got a nation state that wants something and they have the resources of the US government, they can probably get that from you. So the answer
the best thing is not to have it in the first place.
Not to have it in the first place.
Yeah. Not to fight the subpoena, but not to have anything they could subpoena.
Right.
To that end, Brewster Kahle says he's going to move the Internet Archive to Canada.
Yes, or copy it.
He's making a copy.
Yeah. Unfortunately, that's wise. I used to poo-poo those ideas. Not anymore.
It's a mirror in Canada. He says to defend himself against a Trump administration. I don't understand that at all. That seems like another knee-jerk reaction. Do you think the Trump administration would demand that the archive be deleted?
You have one of Trump's advisors on this stuff says that on national security says that use of encryption alone is suspicious.
Right.
Right.
That's always been. NSA even said that. James Admiral Clapper said that. If you're using a VPN or PGP, that Snowden told us that. Now you're in the database automatically. So this is not new.
which was part of the push for encryption by default in WhatsApp and
it's why
Signal.
it's why I encourage everybody to use PGP or GPG, because if we all use it, then we are all Spartacus.
Well, PGP is annoying enough that it's very hard to keep using it, but yes.
I turn it. It's not that annoying. If you have a good email client that supports it, that's the trick, is to get an email client that supports it. I have it turned on. I send my email signature, has my PGP key, and as soon as somebody sends me something encrypted, I by default will automatically from then on encrypt back to them. It doesn't take any extra effort on my part.
But the sort of the counter push to that is that if you're signing everything, then you are verifying that you sent it, and that means that you're creating attestation. So that's if you're signing it and not encrypting it, you may be causing yourself more trouble.
Well, I sign all my email, but that's historically because I don't want to be spoofed. I don't want people impersonating me.
Yeah, no, that's it depends. It's all about threat model, and for your threat model that makes sense.
Yeah,
I mean that's the other discussion. The other discussion about activism and stop using Twitter and start using Signal and things like that. There's been interesting discussion of that from Zeynep Tufekci and Quinn Norton and people like that, who are saying actually a lot of what activists need is the ability to access these public spaces and be able to speak in public, but they also need to have private communications amongst themselves that aren't public.
Right.
So there's this
you need both, don't you? Yeah,
you need both.
Yeah.
And at the moment we entangle them together. So we'll use Twitter or Facebook, the place we publish stuff, and also as our channel for private communications, and we're relying on that stuff not to get intermingled. And that's so part of the reason people are picking up Signal is thinking about, can I decouple these things? Can I move to different ways of doing that?
Well, we know that Twitter has authentication. So if you're tweeting with a blue check, we know it's you.
Well, Twitter says it's you.
Facebook does too. What do you think? What do you think, just kind of offhand, what do you think is going to happen on January 20th when President Trump now has at POTUS as well as at the real Donald Trump? Is he going to, be kind of interesting is if he preserved one at POTUS for official announcements, and then he could...
One's iPhone, one's Android.
I have to say, and I've said this before, I remember how much I hated Twitter. Now that Trump is tweeting so much, I think it's a huge, important channel to his inner workings, his inner thoughts.
He's also but this is a game of
he's
dog
using
and
it to
squirrel.
Manipulate as well. You think?
Yeah, he's used to manipulate like crazy.
You distract people from real news with fake news.
Exactly.
Well, that's fine. That's still of value to us to see it and see what he's talking
my
about.
colleagues in media, I blame more.
Oh, I don't blame anybody for fake news, except that people want to believe it. And we were talking before the show. I think it's not fake news that's the problem, because there's some stuff that's it's just bogus. It's conspiracy theories, which are hard to disprove and spread like wildfire. And the internet has proven to be an amazing, fertile greenhouse, hothouse for conspiracy theory. And President-elect Trump is a huge conspiracy theorist. He loves that stuff. He eats it up. And that's more of a problem to me, because you can't disprove conspiracies.
No, but also Trump is not concerned about whether you believe him or not, but
he's speaking to an audience. Yeah.
He's speaking to his audience, but also he's primarily speaking to establish dominance and control. So him saying this thing is the thing, and I'm not supporting it. That's actually a power play. That's him saying I can get this across even without supporting evidence because I have that.
See,
authority.
I could just say that there were millions of illegal votes, and it becomes so. And then of course he challenged a reporter to prove it not so. Instead of saying the question is, well, what's your evidence, President-elect Trump? Instead, his response is, what's your evidence is not true. It must be true.
That's the essence of a conspiracy theory.
And that's conspiracy theory. So the question, Rilla Ramus writing in Slate, is, would Facebook or Twitter ever ban President Trump? And Twitter has said, yeah, if he violates our rules...
I love that.
And we'll ban him. What? But Facebook says no, due to the newsworthiness of whatever he tweets. But somebody in the chat room just pointed out that it's a little known fact, but in fact, the President of the United States has an unblockable channel to all smartphones in the country. You cannot turn off
Lord.
the alerts from the President of the United States. That is an unblockable channel.
Oh God, if he starts using that for his 3 a.m. tweets.
You know what? I'm sorry. And I know everybody's really, it's all horrific and people are so scared. There's a certain, admittedly, some amusement to this too. I mean, it won't be amusing if he launches a nuclear strike against Azerbaijan, but I
let my anger get the better of me and my language the other night.
I saw that. You were really peeved.
I was extremely peeved, and in the light of morning, I regretted only one word, because I do believe we call liars liars, and please, people don't. We know we disagree, but the 2 million votes stolen from me thing is an entree to voter suppression.
Yes.
And the conspiracy theory here is there's tons of voter fraud, and we have to change all kinds of laws, and we have the power to do so to keep more people from voting.
Right, and that's already been the voter ID laws is a movement that's been going on throughout the country, and in many cases blocked by courts successfully, and yet courts have overturned these in at least several cases, several states, because it is a fundamental violation of the Constitution, in my opinion.
Right, but there's a problem with the Voting Rights Act and the Supreme Court not holding it up.
It's no longer being enforced, is what it is. Yeah. Well, that's interesting. See, but that's why I like the idea. I like these tweets because I think they stimulate a conversation.
No, but the problem is that they're not meant to be factual. They're meant to be directional.
I understand.
So when he says,
it's like the rallies. It's like a rally. He loves those rallies. It's like treating Twitter like a 24/7 rally.
Yes. He's the only American president who's going to end up he has a big rally tomorrow, and he's going to keep doing that because he loves the adoration.
Isn't that funny? It feels like he's still running.
Oh yeah,
it's very strange. Well, I will watch with interest.
Well, to some extent, he is until the 19th. Remember?
No, that's not. There's no way you're going to get the electors. I know
there's no way that it's going to do that, but that's he. In a sense, for him, he is still running, and he is doing that to keep them on side as well.
Right.
But also in another sense, his modus operandi is to establish dominance. He will say anything and do anything to show that he's in charge.
Right.
And he doesn't really care if he's consistent or not because he's focused on the moment. And that's how he's operated for 70 years. He's not going to change now.
Yeah. I'm not. I feel like that we've got very strong norms in place to protect us against an authoritarian president. If it happens, I mean, well, then we'll have to run to the barricades. But
then it's too late.
No, it's not too late. You run to the barricades before it happens.
No. The point is
you keep your antennae up. You keep your
you download Signal and install it, and
Have you watched Keith Olbermann?
Yeah, Keith's a nut job too.
But it's file under amusing. It's the perfect time for him.
It is
time for his anger.
Yeah.
So he has a resistance series on YouTube run by GQ.
Yeah. My fear is that it's almost like crying wolf. We can too much of this will inure us to it, and when the time really does come to stand up and be counted, people say, "Oh yeah, that again." Keeps back at it.
Right. Well, that's the other point of this. It's not fake news. It's propaganda. It's part of the point is to dispel the idea that there is news and there is truth at all. And and if you can say
that, I really resent.
Say that thing.
Yeah, that I really resent.
And that's actually the goal of a lot of this.
That psychologically erodes our minds fundamentally. Right. I think it's very, very big problem. And the internet really lends itself to this kind of erosion because we're already bombarded. We have talked in the past about how the internet made facts commoditized. It used to be a fact had real value. That's what the job of reportage was, is to gather facts, who, what, where, when, why. And if I was talking with my 13-year-old, actually now 14-year-old, and we were talking about facts, and we had just asked the Google Home something, and it told us something. And I said, what do you think it was like when I was your age if I wanted to know how much a blue whale weighed? What do I do? And his friend said, you'd go to the encyclopedia. And I said, yep, that's right. That's why I have an encyclopedia on my bookshelf. That's completely obsolete now. And if it wasn't in the encyclopedia, how would I find out? And they were baffled. I said, well, you have to go to the library and look it up. So facts had real value. They were worth a lot. Now that facts are...
that's interesting. So facts are devalued.
They're
really
completely
interesting.
devalued, and we thought that was a good idea because that meant you could get all the information you need, and now you can use your critical thinking, the real skill to assess and do synthesis and come up with new ideas. I remember my late father-in-law, who was a science teacher in high school, when we first gave him an iPad, said, God, if Copernicus had this, Copernicus spent most of his life gathering the data, grinding telescopes to gather the data. Had he had the data, he could have spent most of his life synthesizing it, coming up with theories. And so he said, we live in an age now where you can do that. But what I didn't anticipate, but this is a long list of things we didn't anticipate what the internet would do to us, is that by making facts completely valueless, that we've let the word fact is now meaningless. And that's the erosion of our of something fundamental. That there is a fact and that is true or not
relativism.
true.
It's
relativism.
As I was talking to somebody who was in the business who was shocked when an editor said to him, "Well, I have my truth."
But it's kind of true. I mean, I kind of see the other side that a lot of what we consider to be truth is shaded by our ideology.
Well, I mean, the challenge is, you get into epistemology. It's like, how do we know something is true? What basis do we have for supporting that? And the best thing we have is scientific empiricism. But even that is difficult in that it's not as, the idea that you can create an experiment that's reproducible, that has become under challenge in recent years as people have started to try actually reproducing them and found that in large fields, people have been basically p-value shopping and trying out different variations of the data until they get something that shows a plausible correlation, then they publish that one. And then when you go and try and reproduce the experiments, you can't do it.
We're seeing that a lot. That's turned out to be, that was a common MO.
Right, and it's partly this was psychology experiments and things like that, where you naturally have to work with small groups and the statistics are something that isn't core to the system. I'm not saying we're going to overturn quantum mechanics or something where there is significant stuff like that, but there is. Nathan Jurgensen wrote a post about factiness, about the idea, which is like the counterpart to truthiness. Truthiness is like, this thing sounds like it should be true, therefore I will say it, and that's the Colbert thing. If factiness is this thing looks like a fact, and therefore I will defend it, and I'm proud that I have a fact in my piece, even if it doesn't necessarily correspond with reality. So it's when people spend a lot of time saying, but GDP per capita has gone up under Obama, and not looking at what the actual distribution of GDP per capita has done. That's an example of factiness. You've picked a measure that suits your argument, but it doesn't actually ring true to a large number of people in the country because actually they've been doing pretty badly.
So are we better off? I mean, or worse off? So in the old days, we said, well, the encyclopedia, the New York Times, if it's in a book, it must be true. Those were trusted sources, and we've learned that, thanks to many things, that they maybe weren't quite as trusted as we thought. Was it better that at least to have something that was kind of trusted, or does it mean we're actually really closer to the truth of the matter?
That's the institutional argument, which I hear all the time.
It's an elite. It's a fundamentally elitist.
It's
attitude.
An elitist argument. No, I think that on the net we're better off. Most people want to be correct. Most people, I really honestly believe, don't want to be wrong if given the opportunity.
I would disagree with you. I think most people want to be. They do it. You're saying it's post hoc. Or propter hoc. I'm saying it's post hoc. People form their ideas and then look for proof that it's correct.
Sometimes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Somebody's coming after Kevin.
It's actually a leaf blower, I think, which is...
No, I think it's a chainsaw 2 gardens away. Sorry about that.
Oh, Lord. But I think this is very interesting. And I wish I'd studied more philosophy and epistemology and ontology and all of this stuff, because this is an age-old debate, an age-old discussion, but it's really been brought to the forefront by the kind of proliferation of facts.
It's really interesting. I'm glad you talked about this, because I hadn't thought of it that way, and I get that. But I still have to believe that a world with more facts is better off than a world with fewer facts. A world with more data to use is better off than a world with that.
Then we got to get good at
use it.
Then we got to get good at measuring the fact.
Well, that's our fault as humans misusing it. But clearly, if you gave Copernicus more data and more facts, we'd be better off.
Maybe he was better off grinding his own lenses and observing for himself. I don't know.
Well,
have either of you been warned by Google that your account is under attack by a foreign government?
I was warned, but not the foreign government piece.
I feel bad. I didn't get that. I think I'm not important enough to get that warning. Paul Krugman, Michael McFaul, Keith Olbermann, Julia Yaffe, all received warnings from Google. Let me see if I can find it. Here's Julia's post. Government-backed attackers may be trying to steal your password. This comes direct from Google. There's a chance this is a false alarm, but we believe we detected a government-backed attacker trying to steal your password. This happens to less than 0.1%. 1 in 1,000 of all Gmail users.
Aren't you lucky?
We can't reveal what tipped us off because the attackers will take note and change their tactics. And in fact, apparently Google delayed these notifications a few weeks because they were afraid that it would give information to the attackers. To further improve your security based on your current settings, we recommend setting up a security key or install password alert.
What's a security? The security key is just two-factor?
You know, they don't say the word two-factor. I'm not sure why. The password alert, I think, is that new thing that Google does where if you have an Android phone, actually it even works with an iPhone, when you log into your account, it then sends an alert to your phone that says, you're trying to log in, right? And you say yes or no, which is kind of, basically it's two-factor. I don't know why they've decided to use that for two-factor instead of the Google Authenticator. I guess Authenticator must be what they mean by security key.
SMS as well. It has other
SMS. Yeah, NIST has said stop using SMS. It's deprecated because it's way too easy for a hacker to social engineer your phone number out of the phone company so that they can intercept your SMS messages. I don't know if this alert thing is impervious to that. I guess it would be because you'd have to log into your Google account on that phone, and that means I guess it would be better than just a text message.
Right. So it assumes they've already got you logged in somewhere else.
Right. Yeah, it's kind of a chain of trust from what your current device to the next device. Apple does basically the same thing. You have to approve an Apple login from another Apple device. But so everybody should turn that on. Here's a fun story.
God.
1 million Google accounts compromised by Gooligan. Aptly named Android malware, 86 apps and third-party marketplaces can root 74% of all Android phones, but that's because most Android phones are not on a modern version of Android. This affects Ice Cream Sandwich, Jelly Bean, Kit Kat, and Lollipop.
Wow.
If you are on Marzipan or Nougat, what is M? I forget. Marshmallow or Nougat, you're okay. But most users on Android are not. And unfortunately, a lot of the people who are vulnerable to this are people who have less expensive phones in other nations, who have carriers and companies, manufacturers that don't care about updating, and so the most vulnerable people in some ways. Gooligan begins when a user downloads and installs an infected app on a vulnerable device. And as I said, there are a lot of apps, although note, those apps are on third-party app stores. So step one, do not download apps from other sources. Get them from the Google Play Store. But if you've got that go to your settings and turn off install applications from third parties. That should not be on in your Google phone because you might even get a link in a malware or a phishing message that downloads and installs an APK. That'll be blocked if you don't have that setting turned on. It's not on by default. After an infected app is installed, it sends data about the device to the command and control server. Gooligan then says, yes, I'll be with you in a moment, then downloads a rootkit from the server, which takes advantages of multiple exploits on Android 4 and 5. If rooting is successful, the attacker, of course, has full control of the device and can do whatever the hell he wants remotely. After root access, Gooligan downloads a new and malicious module from the server and installs it on the affected device. This module injects code into running Google Play or Google mobile services to mimic user behavior so Gooligan can avoid detection. Jeez Louise. At this point, Gooligan gives you the option to steal a user's Google email account and authentication token information. So if they can get into your system and you're using Google Authenticator, it gets the secret from Google Authenticator. Now your two-factor is useless. That's why Google's probably recommending this new system. Install apps from
Wait. Two-factor is useless because...
So the way the Authenticator works is it creates a 6-digit code that is from the current time and a secret number.
Yes. So
if they can get your secret number from Authenticator, they can authenticate from any device. Your secret number should be protected. It's as important as your password. So if they've rooted the phone, I mean, I'm projecting this. It doesn't say this specifically, though it implies it. They say you can get they can steal authentication token information. I don't know if that means inbound codes or actually just get the secret. If they get the secret, all bets are off. They can generate codes all day.
Is the secret in it forever? So once I set up,
secret is forever. You can reset it
forever.
Yeah, you can reset it. You can get a new secret.
So my temptation is to say that those secrets should be reset on some timetable. However, when that secret is communicated, that's a weak, vulnerable point. Yeah.
Yep. That's why they do it with QR code. So when you first set up Google two-factor, right, you get a QR code on the screen. That's the secret numbers in that QR code. And you scan it with your phone because you wouldn't want to enter in a 20-digit number. And now it's in your phone. And you preserve that QR code at your peril. You're not supposed to. You're supposed to say, okay, bye-bye, and that's done. And that now the only thing that has that secret number is your authenticator. But you can manually reset it. I think this new system is better, is more secure. I'm not a security expert on it.
Except when you're someplace where your phone is not going to work for 3 days.
Right. It's a little bit of a pain in the butt, but so all security is it not?
When I travel internationally.
Yeah.
I'm not sure it's that base token they're taking, but the basically the
if they're getting intercepting the SMS, then yeah, I would assume that Authenticator puts that token somewhere safe.
It's more that if you're using Google services through the web browser, then you're basically sending an authentication token from the browser.
That's not so bad because you only have 30 seconds to use it. The token's only good for 30 seconds.
Yeah. But yeah, if you can get the one that lets you reset it and create new ones, then that's much more problematic.
That's a real problem.
Yeah.
Not clear.
This stuff is hard.
Director of Android Security Adrian Ludwig said he and other Google officials have worked closely with Checkpoint, the company that discovered this, to investigate Gooligan and to protect users against the threat it poses. There's no evidence data was accessed from compromised accounts or that individual users were targeted. Note that one of the main things that they do is not to steal your information to attack you, but to put adware on your phone to generate revenue or to install apps from Google Play and rate them to raise their reputation. These are kind of garden variety scams.
Wow.
Google's been using a service called Verify Apps to scan individual handsets for signs of Gooligan and other ghost push apps. And when detected, device owners receive a warning. Installations are halted. So that's that. I think that new thing where when you download, this is a great feature. And I didn't realize they could backport it to earlier versions of Android. When you download a new app, it scans it before it installs it. We've taken many actions to protect our users and improve the security of the Android ecosystem overall, including revoking affected users' Google account tokens, providing them with clear instructions to sign back in securely, removing apps related to the issue from affected devices, deploying enduring Verify Apps improvements. So they're doing the best they can, but the problem is fundamental is that old versions of Android do not get fixed. Let's take a break. Kevin, you got to go in 10 minutes?
Yes, thereabouts.
I'm not going to remind you. I'm not going to remind you of the time and hope that you forget. Our show, our show today brought to you by FreshBooks. If you're a freelancer, a small business, you know the thing you hate doing the most is, well, sending out invoices. It's also the thing you must do the most because that's how you get paid. FreshBooks makes it easy. You can create invoices in less than 30 seconds that look professional. They've got your logo on it. the color scheme, any images you want that reflect your brand. I mean, they're personal invoices. You can chat with your client regarding an invoice once they receive it. That's built in. You'll be able to see which invoices you've sent, which have been viewed. There's never a question whether your client saw it or got it. It pings you when they do, and which have been paid, as well as overdue and outstanding invoice totals. So you've got on the dashboard, this is that brand new FreshBooks dashboard, all new. You've got all the information you need about how your business is doing. So many small business owners, if you ask them, have you made a profit this year, can't even answer that question, let alone how much. But all you have to do now is launch FreshBooks, and you'll say, yes, I have, and here's how much. You'll have quick access to outstanding balances, spending, total profit, and you can generate, those fancy accounting reports if your bookkeeper needs them, like sales tax summaries and profit and loss statements. Track expenses by vendor and category too, so you know how much you've spent to make your money. If you do time and hour billing, there's a tracker in the app and on the web. Makes it easy to track your time to the minute. And when it comes time to create the invoice, it just goes right in there so you'll know exactly what you did and when you did it. I can go on, but here's what I want you to do. Try it free. This new dashboard is awesome. And if you're a current FreshBooks user, if you haven't already received the notification, you can upgrade to the new dashboard, but you can also stay with the old one if you're comfortable with it. But new users will get the new dashboard, and you will love it. It's a 30-day unrestricted free trial waiting for you at freshbooks.com/twig, freshbooks.com/twig. And if you do me a favor, just say This Week in Google when they ask, how did you hear about it? That way we get credit for it. This Week in Google. Yeah, this Gooligan is a nasty one. Here's a bad hack. This weekend, all the gates were open at the San Francisco Muni.
Oh, God, yes.
You just walked on the train because apparently somebody got ransomware on at least some of the Muni systems, and they're asking for $73,000 in ransom. Now, the whole system wasn't hacked because obviously the system that ran the trains wasn't, because they kept the trains going. But I think the money stuff was, because anybody could just walk through those turnstiles. The hackers claim they control 2,000 computers of their 8,000 computer of SF Municipal Transit's 8,000 network system. If you saw the kiosks, I didn't see this. Maybe you did, Kevin. If you saw the kiosks downtown on Saturday, it said, "You hacked. All data encrypted. Contact for key." And it gave out a yandex.com address.
So, but if this was, of course, a plot at The Good Wife, where they had data and they didn't have it backed up, and so they had to pay. Yeah, I would, as long as they have a backup of the data. How does this scam work against?
It doesn't, but of course, there's you don't pay the $73,000 if you have anything else you could do. And I presume Muni is well enough run so that they can just, clean the systems and put the data on. It just means, and by the way, everything's back to normal now. So that's probably...
You revert to the prior version, yeah.
Yeah, that's probably what could have happened, was that they were down for a few days as they fixed it, and now they're back up, and presumably without paying the 100 Bitcoin that the hacker wanted.
Which is what, 70 grand?
$73,000. Probably what happened was, so this is from Hoodline.com. Mike Grover, a Bay Area security researcher who aided Hoodline in investigating this story, said there are a few ways the hackers could have taken over Muni's system. My gut says they found a way to get inside before spreading the ransomware through their domain controller or an administrator's machine, and then leverage that to use the administrator's access to infect the rest of the network. Easiest way to do this, and it happens all the time, it's what happened to Sony, is you send a phishing email to a bunch of employees. One of them believes it. By the way, it also impacted the paychecks. Muni workers are not sure if they're going to get paid this week, which is not good. And without collecting fares, it costs them more than $500,000 a day to run Muni. Fare machines were back up, though, after the weekend. So that's the good news. The scary thought, though, is that they were hacked at all. And, if they'd hacked... Oh, we lost Kevin. Bye, Kevin. if they had hacked the controllers, the computers that control the trains, they could have caused a wreck.
Yeah.
Not good.
The signal system.
Yeah. You could have like what happened in New Jersey. That was operator error, though, right?
That was Peters.
What happened to that? Are they trying the guy?
He suffers from sleep apnea.
Oh, he fell asleep.
Well, they don't know that, but they revealed that he suffers from he was undiagnosed having sleep apnea.
Okay, that can sleep apnea means you don't breathe properly when you're sleeping at night, which means you can be very tired during the day, thinking you have a good night's sleep.
Have you ever had a sleep test?
I have not, and I don't want to know. I know I'm tired all the time, but I attribute it to my advanced age.
Yeah.
That's normal, right?
Yeah.
Hey, you got to love it. Casey Neistat got a big payday.
Yeah, so I watched his vlog saying this is the last vlog. I'm giving this up. And then turns out it's for a big deal.
Estimated $25 million. Casey, a YouTube star. He's got millions of subscribers, right? I haven't checked his subscriber count, but I've watched his videos. Very talented. Really clever guy. He does have 11 employees, so I always thought, oh, he's just a great editor. He works really fast. But no, he's got 11 people working for him. And he had created an app called Beam, which we actually had as an app cap on iOS today. It was kind of cool. You'd put it on your phone, and you had to like tap your chest, and then it would start taping. It was kind of weird, but the idea was like very direct, personal broadcasting. A lot of people, another case where a lot of people downloaded it, and then nobody used it after that, including me. Casey is 35. He's got a great story. He's very talented video editor. Very talented, does a lot of kind of cool stuff in New York City. And he is now a CNN employee. In fact, the whole company, all of Beam's employees will join CNN. Beam was downloaded 1 million times. So 1 million.
The great hunt for youth in video. Yeah.
Right. I think that's a smart move. It's a weird move, though, because normally what a company like CNN would do, or my company, is we'd approach them and say, we'd like to hire you.
Right.
But nowadays, it's like we'd like to acquire your company. Presumably, it goes with a job, though, right? He gets $25 million and then a job.
Yeah, he's content visionary or some such thing.
Yeah. Beam's employees.
There may be an earn out or something. Yeah. Well, I guess they're shutting down Beam, so it's not an earn out situation.
No, there's no more Beam app, but their employees will stick around in the Tribeca office. They're not going to move to the Time Warner Center.
Good. That's smart.
Neistat will still manage his personal YouTube channel, which has 5.8 million subscribers, but it's not related to his new media venture. And as for whether Neistat will appear on CNN's TV lineup, the network said we're exploring every possible way for Casey and our media venture to connect with new audiences. Stay tuned.
The new wolf.
I asked Karsten to try to book my old colleague, Alex Wellen, who runs digital at CNN. He was one of our anchors on Tech TV many moons ago. Great guy. Love Alex. And he's at CNN. And I'm willing to bet was the guy who helmed this acquisition. Have you emailed him? Is he any? Yeah, we're waiting here. I think Alex still likes me.
You'll find out soon enough.
Find out soon enough. Still, if I'm still in his good graces. We lost Kevin before we got to do his. He's back.
So looks like my DNS went down on my main connection, so I'm now going in through my phone. Android hotspot.
You've been hacked.
I'm not sure if I've been hacked, but it says DNS failed on my.
That's weird.
That's not supposed to happen.
No.
Nope. So Comcast has probably eaten something.
Yeah.
But fortunately, I can fall back on my.
But can you stick around, or are you about to leave? I don't understand.
I do need to leave soon anyway. So
you came back just to say goodbye?
To say goodbye. And
I was on a conference call today, and somebody had problems with their connection, and she would just come into the conversation constantly saying, "Oh, it's me. I left. I came back."
And then clunk.
And then clunk went off again. And they came back. It was like a comedy routine. It was all the person said was, "I'm on. I'm back."
Gunk. Yeah.
You hit your data cap. That's what happened. Have you received an email from Comcast saying you're approaching your data cap? I got one this month for the first time ever.
I haven't had one of those, but
oh, it's scary. You have a terabyte. I went 125% over the terabyte. They said that's okay. We'll spot you this time, but if it happens twice more, we're gonna have to charge you.
Were you broadcasting from home or something? What was
No, I was just watching TV. But I realized we watch everything now. We stream, even if HBO, is on the cable, wouldn't cost us. We end up watching it on HBO Go instead. I stream everything, and I have 4K now.
I'm streaming it in 4K. That's why you're doing it.
But Comcast, see, they know. Everybody said, "Oh, a terabyte. You'll never hit a terabyte." Well, wait till you have 4K, then you see how much.
And then wait till you do 4K and 360.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, it depends how much they compress the 4K. At the moment, they're not compressing it much.
No, it looks great. I'm amazed because there is very little 4K content. There's only like 100 DVDs. Although, you see here, YouTube is now supporting 4K streaming. Live streaming.
Okay, live streaming, wow.
And also in 360 degrees. Now, I don't know anybody who has a 360-degree 4K camera. That might be the Ozo. I don't even think the Ozo's 4K.
Yeah.
But all of us now have 4K cameras that can stream 4K, right?
Yeah, no, this is a 4K camera.
Yeah, all phones.
Phone.
Many phones can do that. So that's cool. They look good. I mean, 4K, I've been watching 4K with HDR. On Netflix and on Amazon, and it looks good. But you end up watching I remember in the early days of HD, you'd watch the stupidest stuff because it was in high def.
Yeah.
But don't you have to be like 4 inches from the screen to tell?
Oh no.
You got a really
come over to my house. Oh no. But I'm not that I'm not huge. I'm not way distant, but I have a 65-inch screen, so it's pretty big.
Is it one of those curved things or not?
No, I had curved last
silly.
year. I had curved. This year's straight.
Okay.
And it's I'm about 8 feet.
Okay. So,
and you feel like you're looking through a window. It's like, wow. So I'm watching a very stupid show about Japan, but it's in 4K, and you really feel. Remember, that's what Mark Cuban made money on, right? Streaming HD bikini videos.
Oh God!
I don't think
BBC Earth in 4K. That would be worth seeing.
I pre-ordered it. They're reshooting it, but it won't be out. Well, are they? No, it is out. Right? It's airing, isn't it? Oh, we lost him again.
Earth 2, and they've shot it all in 4K.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
and they're airing it on. But are they airing it on BBC America, or where are they airing it?
Not sure. BBC UK at the moment.
Yeah. But I pre-ordered the DVD because that's the way to watch it.
It'll be PBS here. You mean Blu-ray? I'm assuming.
Yeah, Blu-ray. No. But Blu-ray UHD. I have a high def Blu-ray player. I mean a UHD 4K Blu-ray player.
Yeah, no, that's the way to watch it. Yeah.
Oh, I bought the HD when it came out, and I had a new HD TV. It's beautiful. Love BBC Earth.
I remember being nobody's going to need HD. That's silly. They're going to change TV.
No, HD is a measurable difference. 4K is tougher. I mean, a 4K screen is great if you're actually using it for text and work, and you want,
Kevin, come to my house and watch this Japanese movie with me. You will be blown away. I promise you've never seen anything look better.
Okay. I mean,
it's stunning.
For me, it's like the TV in our house isn't that big, and the room's fairly big, so 720p is fine for what we're watching.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, you need to have the viewing environment.
I set it up to be, close because I want to, and you want it to be immersive. Yeah,
it
is immersive. It's
cinematic. Yeah.
It's better than going to the movies.
Yeah.
Hey, I forgot to mention we were talking about Echo. Amazon is going to apparently, according to Mark Gurman, good source, Bloomberg Technology, do a premium Alexa speaker with a screen on it. They say it's for your kitchen. As soon as first quarter 2017. I've been waiting for this. I've been waiting for Amazon to start capitalizing on the Alexa.
No, but this is the thing we've talked about, for a while. Is it's part of the thing that Google makes sense, because you can have the Chromecast and the TV, and you can have the Google gadget you talk to, and it can send stuff to the Chromecast, which is what you want. So Alexa doing that makes sense, but having a screen in it makes less sense to me than sending it to the Amazon Fire or whatever their equivalent is.
Well, and then we're going to do Sonos. Well, I think that's what the screen will be, right? As a Fire tablet. What do you bet?
Yeah. But a Fire dongle thing you stick in your actual TV, because you've got a TV.
Oh, that would be cool.
No, that's the thing. That's the promise of the Google one, is that you can say, okay, Google, play me BBC Earth, and it goes, it's in Google Movies. Do you want to spend $10 on it? You say sure, and then it appears on your TV.
I haven't tried that yet. Does that work now?
I don't know. I haven't got the gadget, but that's the thing. The thing that the Chromecast makes possible is that you can send stuff to any of the screens in your house. Right. The thing that potentially the speaker that knows where your things in your house are means you can say, play me the movie, and it'll play it to the right screen in the right room.
Right. I've named all my Chromecasts, so I should theoretically be able to say, play me the movie in the living room.
Right.
I have a Chromecast named, the 4K Chromecast is named Man Cave. I can't wait. I can't wait to say, play bikini videos in my man cave. That's going to be awesome.
Yeah, this is where it mishears you and sends it somewhere else in the house instead. And everything goes horribly wrong.
No! GoPro in trouble. We've known that GoPro was struggling. I'm not sure if it's that there's too many competitors or that people are getting weaned off of the action camera category.
Yeah, it reminds me of the great flip cam.
But that just died suddenly, didn't it? Remember that?
Boy, oofa.
That was the thing for vloggers.
I loved it. I discovered it. I introduced media companies to it. I said it's going to change the world, and then boom.
But you know what killed that was the smartphone, right? The ability to do the same thing on the same phone you already have. And I would guess that's kind of what's killing GoPro is that we've got great cameras on our phones. I don't know. 15% of its workforce will be laid off. They're going to shut down the entertainment division.
Wow, they seem to be in charge of the world. Wow.
They're restructuring to reduce operating expenses by $650 million next year. They estimate they'll incur as much as $33 million in restructuring costs. Products, including the Karma drone and the new Hero 5, have not sold well. The company blamed the disappointing results on production problems. They had to recall 2,500 drones. It also faces a class action lawsuit that claims the company made false and misleading statements about the drone, which is a violation of federal securities law. Wow. Competition, but I think also a weakening market. And here's the best news of all. Netflix now lets you download their content to watch offline.
Yeah, this made the rundown worth it for me this week, man.
Yahoo!
I'm very happy.
Now it's not everything; it's mostly original stuff. But boy, that's
great. That's the stuff I want.
That's the best stuff on Netflix.
To watch
right?
on the plane.
Yeah. I haven't finished The Crown yet. That'd be perfect. I like
just all kinds of stuff I didn't watch at all because if I can't watch it on the plane or in the subway.
Yeah.
So here's a question for you. Are either of you Walking Dead fans?
No.
Okay. I had to stop watching it. It's dystopia.
Everybody stopped watching it. The ratings for The Walking Dead have plummeted.
Oh, it just got so disgusting. I couldn't do it.
Yeah. Well, it proves you can go too far.
Sadistic.
Yeah.
And really just I watch TV to escape from dystopia and we're in dystopia.
Right.
So
well, that's what some have said is that get ready because you're going to see a stream of feel-good movies. This has happened in the Great Depression.
Yeah, you're right.
We're going to have Busby Berkeley tap dancing, singing, happy-go-lucky, escapist movies. Hollywood. I do note when I go to the theater, a ton of sci-fi movies all of a sudden.
Mm-hmm.
Last year was the comic book character, the Marvel Universe year. This year's going to be the spaceship saga. The space opera year. Tons of stuff. By the way, what do you think of The Crown? Have you watched that, Kevin Marks? You're a British citizen.
Watched that one yet. I watched a bit of Victoria, but I didn't finish that one.
I want to know. It's the same guy who did The Queen, which I thought was wonderful. I'm just curious,
But I haven't watched it, so I don't have an opinion on that yet.
All right.
I've been binge watching Vikings. That I was.
Is that good?
Well, it's very good.
Oh, I'll have to watch that. That's I think in 4K UHD, so I can enjoy that.
There you go.
I'm looking for.
I was impressed with it. It's it has that Game of Thrones thing, but actually there's a bunch of historical stuff in it that's accurate.
Okay, good.
And so when they do people speaking funny languages, they're actually speaking Old Danish and Old English and things like that. So,
nice.
And there's some mythical stuff and bits and pieces in it
I
too,
knew that Old Danish degree would come in handy someday.
No, I was laughing. I was because I went to Cambridge and I had friends who did Anglo-Saxon, Norse, and Celtic.
It's
I'm
hot
thinking,
now.
Funny, you got a job in media.
Get a good job.
So write the dialogue for actors to learn languages they can't speak.
Der Spiegel loses again. Their sixth court case against Adblock Plus.
Yes.
IO, the company that makes them. In fact, I know these guys. In fact, we had Till Fida on Triangulation talking about Adblock Plus. He mentioned at the time that they were being sued again by Der Spiegel. Der Spiegel says, you're undermining our ability to monetize by blocking ads. Their lawyers were contacted by phone. The judge says your case has been dismissed, but we haven't seen a written decision, so we don't know why. They're basically Der Spiegel, which is a newspaper, right?
Magazine. Time magazine of Germany.
Okay, is trying to, says, ad blockers should be illegal.
Okay, I really do need to go now, so I'll say
Thank you,
goodbye.
Kevin Marks. I will give
Kevin.
a big plug to PubSub Hubbub and to the
Homebrew
Homebrew
Website
Website Club tonight, indieweb.org.
Homebrew Website Club tonight, San Francisco, 5:30 writing hour.
He's fading.
And the PubSub Hubbub thing. Am I dying on the way out?
You're dying on the way out.
Also.
You're going on the way out.
Also, I think there's another noisy machine going on here as well.
There is. Hey, it's great to have you. Thank you for filling in the last minute. PubSub Hubbub is now WebSub.
Yes. So what this does is it lets you, when you post to your blog, it notifies people who are subscribed to it instantly. So you don't have to poll a feed or check for updates. And this is a protocol that's been around since 2010, but it's now a W3C working draft. We've done it as part of the social web working group.
Nice.
And it's still used in quite widespread ways, and it's being adopted by the newer things. So Mastodon.social, which I don't know if you've seen yet, which is yet another Twitter alternative, uses PubSub Hubbub as part of its protocol, and we're using it in the indie web to make sure that when you post something, other people can see it quickly. So you can do the kind of real-time back and forth that you get with Twitter or Facebook without actually being tied into one silo.
What is the new Twitter? It's not GNU Social. It's something else?
It's Mastodon.social, which is GNU Social compatible, but it's a new implementation that someone's just built.
Mastodon as in the woolly mammoth?
Yes, Mastodon.
Mastodon. A free
social.
open source social network server decentralized. Cool.
So that's just popped up it's sort of ramped up. I think he started it a couple of months ago, and it's picked up some traction in the last few weeks.
I'll sign up.
But he's using PubSub Hubbub and some of these specs as well. Nice.
Thank you, Kevin Marks. We got Kevin on at the last minute because Stacy fell ill, and not as seriously ill, but she just couldn't make it. So thank you for coming in at the last minute, and I'm sorry we have to lose you so fast, but it's been great having you.
Bye, and I'll see you again soon.
See you soon. I am joining Mastodon right now. Aha. Let's see real quickly before we get our picks of the week. Anything else to talk about?
Yeah, there's some other stuff here.
Stacy sent along this article, which I also noted. Google AMP is a gilded cage. It's kind of what I've been saying, right?
I know you'd like that one.
Where do you stand on this now? Now that we've seen what AMP is and all of that.
I don't think we've seen the full impact yet until Google basically links everything it links to as AMP.
So the idea was we're going to speed up the web. We're going to get rid of the worst ad tech. We're going to let publishers publish articles that load almost instantly on your mobile browser. And we're going to make it kind of an open project that anybody can run an AMP server, although I don't see anybody doing that.
Nope.
And this article from Terrence Eden is not so much a criticism of AMP. It's just saying if you made the mistake of trying out AMP on your website, it's pretty hard to get out of it.
Yeah, that's really good.
He had WordPress makes it easy. There's a WordPress plugin. He uninstalled the WordPress plugin, and Google continues to show AMP links, which of course, because he's not running the plugin anymore, gives him a 500 error. And even if they try to click through, they get a 404 error.
It's a loop, yeah.
So this probably is something Google would fix, I would imagine.
Yeah, they'll fix it. It is a weakness in the AMP architecture that you have a different URL.
Yeah.
As opposed to a new standard.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, it hasn't turned out to be a horrible thing either. And I have to say, anything that makes pages load faster is a good thing.
It's a good thing, yep.
Yeah.
So I'm amused by the fact that Facebook erased Zuck's posts about fake news.
That was an accident too, I presume.
Yeah, sure. But
why did they erase it? Because their fake news censors said it. Oh, it's fake news.
Yeah, you can't avoid the straight line. Right?
I sense fake news. What was he saying? We're going to get rid of fake news, probably. No, you're not.
It was the one where he said 99% of the stuff on Facebook is authentic.
No, wrong.
Right. So I was amused by that. I thought that was fun.
You are wrong, Mark Zuckerberg. You are blocked.
How much are you using Assistant on the Pixel?
Very, very little. But, this problem I have with all of these things. But I use it when I want to find a factual thing. I will use it. Mm-hmm. I have a Google Home, too, and I don't talk to it that much. I learned to talk to the Echo because it does a few things that I really like reads to me, plays music, that kind of thing. And I think that's the problem with all speech interfaces. I have Cortana on this Windows machine, and you have to kind of be trained to use it.
Yeah, that's why it's interesting that Amazon is adding the screen back to speach because you want to be able to see the page. I think it's good for. I don't know if it's going to work, but I think it's good for media brands potentially.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. We a few weeks ago added Twitbits to the morning briefing that the Echo does. And we got pretty good take-up. I think the last time I saw it was 5,000 people were listening to bits from our shows. Mostly it was the news from TNT Monday through Friday, and then bits from the Screensavers and Twit on their Echo as part of their morning briefing, which is thank you, everybody. And if you'd like to do that, you just open that app. I don't want to use the name, but the A app, the Amazon Echo app, and search for Twit in the morning briefing contents. They've really expanded the kinds of things you can get in the morning briefing, which has made it a lot better. A lot better. And yeah, we've tried to keep those down in a couple of minutes so you get a quick hit of tech stuff. Snapchat spectacles, are they going to be a big deal?
No. But I'm sure you wish you had a pair.
No, not at all.
Just for the fun of it? No, not at all. No.
It's a gimmick. I would never use
very
it.
much so.
Yeah.
Plus, I'd be blind because it's not prescription.
Well, you had Google Glass. I mean,
don't you have to remind me?
It's just the same thing, right? You could take videos and share them to
cheaper.
Snapchat. It's $126
and less dorky looking. Really.
You put this link to an op-ed piece in the New York Times by Christopher Daggett, an auction that could transform local media. What's going on?
So we have the Spectrum auction coming, or in
another
process
one
now. No, it's in process now, and it's a double blind Dutch with a double twist and a sow cow, and it's very complex, extremely complex. But the New Jersey public media licenses that we believe are up for sale could be worth as much as $2 billion.
Wow.
So Chris Daggett, who's a friend of mine, he heads the foundation I'm on the board of, the Geraldine R. Dodge Foundation, wrote an op-ed with Free Press, also weighing in, arguing that if, let's say, it's $2 billion, why not a 10% fund to help develop the future of media and an informed society in New Jersey? $200 million could go a long way to building new media efforts. So otherwise, the money is just going to go right into solve governor traffic jams.
Does it go to the
crisis.
state? No, it doesn't even go to the state. It just goes to the federal budget.
No. That's the point. The state owned the licenses.
So the state's selling them. I get it.
State selling. In most of these cases, these licenses are commercial and it'll go to ABC, NBC, whoever. But in this case, there are 3 licenses that were owned by the state of New Jersey.
Public TV licenses.
Exactly. And so there's a few cases like this around the country. And so they're selling them and they can be worth quite a bit. And we're just saying that's a one-time asset sale and don't have that money
and
go.
It's
and
our money. It's not.
And it's our money. Yep. It's a little irritating to me that this sale is going on and most of this money, billions of dollars, is going to go to TV stations and they aren't even using it. It's our airwaves, and they should just be given back to us, the people. But that's not what's happening. So anyway, I thank you for the plug to that. I wanted to mention that.
There's a certain irony to the fact that people didn't vote in the election because they felt that government wasn't responsive and was corrupt and politicians were horrible and evil. And as a result, you ain't seen nothing yet.
Yeah.
There's a little irony. It's self-fulfilling prophecy.
I'm trying to restrain myself.
I know you're being very good, and now I'm the one who's falling into the pit.
Because it's just you have to talk about it. It's just
hard not to. Yeah. I mean, I'm still of the opinion that I'm taking a little bit of a wait and see. Although we're starting to see, but I'm just curious. I still believe that the institutions of our republic will moderate any extremism on the part of anybody. I mean, what's
upsetting me most right now is insurance, health insurance, pre-existing conditions, Medicare.
He's already said I'm not going to get rid of that.
He has said he hasn't, but I'm nervous.
I know he's got a new HHS secretary who is has been a virulent foe of Obamacare.
Yeah.
So
that worries me at an individual level.
Yeah, it should. Because you have a pre-existing condition.
The photos of Romney dining with Trump, the captioning that's been going on is just hilarious. My favorite is, "Oh, good, a new season of Twin Peaks."
I think that we're going to see an amazing. I think sometimes, if everything's going your way, it kind of kills creativity. I think sometimes adversity is a very useful thing for the left.
I mean, I'm getting a lot of flashbacks to the 60s.
This is the weirdest picture ever.
It's so hilarious. Sorry, I should have warned you.
Yeah. And of course, people are captioning this like crazy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't know that Jean-Georges is a wonderful, amazing restaurant.
3-star Michelin.
Jean-Georges Vaucleric. I didn't know it was in a Trump building. So except for the 21 Club, but the thing is, all he evidently likes, Trump, is cheeseburgers.
Yeah, I wonder what he's eating there. I mean, looks like Mitt's got something of interest, but Trump's got looks like a taco bowl. I don't know what he's eating there. We know he likes those. Some very funny tweets. It does look like a Twilight Zone episode where a guy just made a foolish deal with the devil. That's Adam Murray's tweet. Okay. Although I think we can all be happy that President-elect Trump has convinced Carrier, the air conditioning company, to keep 1,000 jobs it was about to send to Mexico and
So
Indiana.
I just tweeted a Good Fortune piece that explained the deal.
Yeah.
And says basically they kept 1,000 jobs, lost 1,100 jobs. There's a $700,000 a year state of Indiana tax break to them and a couple other things. Trump argued that you're going to make more money from all my tax breaks I'm going to give companies. You should stay. And then one analysis says the carrier's real fear was losing federal contracts.
Right. Well,
so
hey,
a lot of jobs are still going to Mexico, but some jobs are staying.
Let's take a break and we'll get our picks in just a moment. Jeff Jarvis here, City University of New York. His blog is buzzmachine.com. And I think you probably can't go to Michelin 3-star restaurants every night. Sometimes you have to cook. Sometimes cooking isn't the most fun thing to do after a 9-to-5 hard work day. You don't want to go to the store, plan a menu, shop for ingredients, come home and cook them. That's when you're going to be thrilled you've got Blue Apron on the menu. I love coming home on Blue Apron Day. All the ingredients to cook an amazing meal. And the recipe card is awesome because it's got every pictures, step-by-step instructions. You can make an amazing meal in around 40 minutes that your family will love for a lot less than you would pay if you went to the grocery store to buy it. Under $10 a person for healthy home-cooked meals. And look at the meals. Oh, man. Go to blueapron.com/twit right now. You can Pick 3 meals and get them free. BlueApron.com/twit. There's no food waste. All the food is prepared the way you would want it to be. So the seafood is sourced sustainably. The beef is raised humanely. Chickens are free range. The pork is raised naturally. They use regenerative farming practices, local farmers, 150 local farms, fisheries, and ranchers across the United States. Blue Apron's mission is to make incredible home cooking accessible to everybody while supporting a more sustainable food system, setting the highest standards for ingredients, and building a community of home chefs. I gotta go to the menu. I love every week looking what's on the menu. Sautéed beef and potato latkes with roasted beans and carrots. They have family plans as well as plans for couples. So that's nice because that means you can cook for your family too. Harissa, let me look at the family recipes. They're more kid-friendly ingredients like, oh, look at that. Spiced catfish tacos with roasted sweet potato and coleslaw. I hate doing this ad at lunchtime.
No, you're keeping me for dinner. Yeah.
I know. Broccoli and now here's
rib burgers on pretzel buns. I do want that.
Pretzel buns are. How about now? This is a vegetarian. They do have vegetarian entrees too. Broccoli and white bean burgers with cheesy roasted potato. Yeah. Yum! Veggie burgers made from bites of broccoli and creamy white beans. And then they even recommend a wine to go with it. The wine's on you though. BlueApron.com/twit. Get your first 3 meals free with free shipping. Blue Apron ships to 99% of the continental United States. Go to BlueApron.com/twit. You will love how good it feels to taste and create incredible home-cooked meals with Blue Apron. And by the way, research shows that families that cook with Blue Apron cook together nearly 3 times as often. It's just kind of a natural. Get the kids cooking and eating right with Blue Apron. BlueApron.com/twit. So we already mentioned Kevin Marks's picks.
So stay on the food for 1 second.
Yes.
So I'm enjoying a meme that's growing as we speak. Kellogg's pulled advertising from Breitbart because of what Breitbart is.
I can't even believe they were advertising on Breitbart in the first place.
I can't either. May have been through exchanges.
Right.
So Breitbart is now running a big boycott campaign against Kellogg's.
Oh, so you can't stop eating cornflakes.
I say go on. I say liberals, California, the Upper West Side of Manhattan and Brooklyn. Let's empty the shelves of Kellogg's. Us coastal liberals. So now everybody's debating. Well, what can I safely eat? What's okay? Somebody said, well, Kellogg's is in a horrible position because no liberal is going to admit eating Fruit Loops. So I had a tweet that lists all of Kellogg's brands, and now people are trying to figure out what they can eat.
All brand. There's some good stuff in there.
Dan Gilmore was looking for something healthy, and I said he's not allowed to tell me that Cheez-Its aren't healthy.
Eggo waffles.
Yeah.
Pringles potato chips. So Black Bart has declared that Kellogg's hates its 45 million readers. It can't be that many.
No.
That's got 45 million monthly conservative readers. So dump Kellogg's. Sign the petition to dump Kellogg's.
Well, what good does a petition do? You just don't buy it if you don't want it, but buy them.
Nutri-Grain Pop-Tarts, Rice Krispies, Cheez-Its, Kashi. I like Kashi.
Apple Jacks.
Frosted Mini Wheats, Morningstar Farms, Famous Amos Cookies.
Ooh.
Mother's Cookies. Keebler. The Keebler elves work for Kellogg's. Who knew?
They're liberals. I knew they were liberals. I knew it.
Low-fat granola, of course. Apple Jacks Mucilix. Smart Start S'mores. I don't eat any of this stuff. This stuff, all this stuff will kill you. I've been boycotting them for years.
James O'Malley at Gizmodo said, finally, the American left has its own Chick-fil-A campaign. So it's fun to watch a meme from the birth.
It's amazing. We're so good at spreading this stuff. I feel like Neil Postman was right. We are amusing ourselves to death, and this is the final stages of the death throes.
Right. Jay Rosen's mentor.
Really? Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Indie Web Camp is tonight. This is what I'll do Kevin Marks picks. If you are interested, indieweb.org. I am all for this, promoting an independent web instead of a monoculture. The website meetings are on a regular basis. Tonight in Schiphol in Amsterdam, in Baltimore, Maryland, Brighton, England, and Gothenburg, Sweden, and San Francisco. And then tomorrow, December 7th in Nuremberg. I would go to Nuremberg just for that meeting and some sausages. And maybe a nice beer.
Yeah.
A little beer and brats. Your number of the week.
So, all right. So, one fun, one just serious. The serious one first. So there's a lot of talk, obviously, about fake news, and I have a couple issues with this. I just want to put on the record. One is that a lot of things are getting thrown into the fake news bucket that I don't think are fake news. We talked about this last week. There was a blacklist that included The Onion and Private Eye. You see,
that's Onion is not fake news. It's comedy.
No, and Occupy Democrats, even though they're not journalistic and they've done some things that are wrong, they're not fake news. They're partisan, and partisanship is not fake. Partisanship is being a citizen, is having an opinion. So I have to be very careful of this. But the other thing that's
why I've been against from the very beginning this idea of let's clobber fake news, because it worries me.
Let's get more truth, more facts. Although you convinced me today, more facts may be bad, but I generally believe more facts are good. So, but what also struck me too is so the courts did an analysis of traffic to these allegedly fake news and hyperpartisan news sites, web traffic. Well, the thing about Occupy Democrats, lesson I learned when I interviewed them, is that the web traffic, they make money on the web traffic, but it's otherwise meaningless. There's a lesson here for big media, and the lesson for big media is use the same devices.
Yes.
Do the same things. Make memes. Make them truth bullets. Add journalism in. Get into the middle of people's conversations. So I just wanted to make that point on a number thing. And now to a more fun number. Ariana Huffington, who left the Huffington Post a couple months ago, launched her new company, Thrive, pretty much today, Thrive Global.
Oh.
And she's selling things. She's including a $100 bed for your phone.
Oh, please. Oh, Ariana. What? That's dopey.
Choice of 2 colors.
Do you have to assemble it like your IKEA furniture?
Exactly. I was thinking. $100.
Wow. That is, I'm telling you, it's end times. It's the end times.
I won't sleep well after using that. Yeah.
Nero is fiddling while your phone is sleeping on its little bed. Jeez. Sometimes I wonder.
So she has a Muse brain sensing headband. She also has Jeff Bezos writing for her.
What?
Why getting 8 hours of sleep is good for Amazon shareholders.
Oh, Lord. Is this thrive.com?
It's an interview, a Q&A. Thrive Global.
Thriveglobal.com.
Yes. Well-being, wisdom, wonder.
Why do you think she left the HuffPo?
I don't know. I suspect a lot of it was just the politics of AOL Verizon.
Yeah.
But I wrote a piece a year ago now, saying, come back, Ariana, come back. We need you in American politics. We've lost your voice. Stop trying to be Oprah. And she said, no, I can be both. I can be both. But she left politics almost entirely aside. And I don't know if that was, I've never known. My guess is it was corporate.
Here's, by the way, another piece about sleep. Apparently Thrive is going to be about sleeping well. This one's by Sheryl Sandberg.
Oy. Lean into your bed.
Lean into your phone bed. She's definitely pulling all of her context. Here's a Marie Kondo article. By the way, Thrive is publishing its articles on Medium. Why wouldn't you? Ev's going to do well with Medium, I think. Marie Kondo is the tidy expert. Some would say tidy nut. Yeah, and the stuff they're selling is just ridiculous. So it's a sleep blog. All right, my tip for you is congratulate Mike Elgin because he is a grandpa. Monday, his son Kevin Elgin and wife Nadia had a baby girl, unnamed, at least as of that post. Now, one reason I saw that post is because of my tip. if you're on the it's harder to do this on mobile, but if you're on the Facebook website, click that little drop-down arrow next to newsfeed, and you can choose top stories or chronological stories. And I have, here's a meme. I have to say chronological. Well, it looks like there's only one post in my chronological feed, so that's a lousy tip. But viewing them chronologically brings back all those posts that were algorithmically being dumped from your Facebook feed.
Is it still complete, or is it a chronological?
Well, that's a good question.
Selected?
It's always been my understanding.
On the right column,
that it's
it used to be on the right. You had what happened to the right column? It used to be there.
I think Facebook's having some issues. Maybe there
used to be a column on the right. Oh no,
it's
on
way
the right,
on the right
that
here.
Had the full feed.
No. Yeah, you have to go to newsfeed and chronological, view most recent.
Oh my.
And that way,
so
though, it seems to me that way you get all the stuff. Because the minute you go to the top news, you lose half the stuff that you're seeing in the chronological. So just seems to me that's the way to do it. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been a brief, but I think quite enlightening this week in Google. You see, it's Stacy's, the blabbermouth slows us down. No, just kidding.
We do, Stacy. We hope you feel better.
Yeah, poor Stacy. She got a last minute migraine, but she'll be better. I'm sure by next week we'll get her back in the fold. You can find Stacy at StacyOnIoT.com. Stacy Higginbotham, and of course Jeff you'll find at BuzzMachine.com. That's where he blogs, and on Medium. Are you writing much these days? It feels like you kind of back.
Not as much.
You're kind of maybe just sitting back and watching and ruminating. Or are you just busy teaching?
Oh, that and meetings and travel and
yeah.
I
like your blog posts, though. Don't stop posting.
All right, yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
I like it when you're angry. In fact,
others don't.
Of course they don't. But look at Twitter's full of people who don't like anything. It's a outrage machine. So you shouldn't post on Twitter and then pay attention to what people say about your posts on Twitter. That's crazy. And the thing I like about you, Jeff, is you do post a lot on Twitter. So if you follow,
I also the post I want to write. I'm thinking about writing is that we've talked about it a lot because in this election I chose to go full bore in.
Yes. Was that a conscious? It was a conscious choice.
Very much a conscious decision. And I've had opinions for years. I've been a columnist and a blogger, so the opinion's been out there for years, and I've been open about that. But I went further in. And it meant something different to me, and I'm reclaiming my citizenship, and with it, I'm feeling emotions and anger, which I guess makes me more empathetic to the anger of other Americans, and it's hard to tamp it down sometimes.
Yeah. Well, in my opinion, we need both. We need reportage, fact-based reportage, and we need people's opinions. And as long as they're both labeled clearly, I don't have too much trouble with either. In fact, even one person can do both. I just don't like it when it's mixed. My reportage is mixed with opinion.
Yes,
it's hard for me then to
that's what's getting
distinguish.
Did you have the Mike Elgin news?
Did I have it?
Yes.
What?
I just see it on my Facebook feed.
No, that's what I was just saying. That was that he had a grandchild.
Yeah, you have the picture. Did you show the picture?
Yes.
Okay, I didn't see
you must have passed out during that moment.
I did. You sent me to change the feed, and I was changing the feed.
Oh, you were busy changing the feed, and that's the first thing you saw is that Mike Elgin had a grandchild.
Now I remember on the side of my eye. I saw
Princess Squishy Face. They don't have a name for her.
Mike's going to be a good grandfather.
I am thrilled for him, except the sad thing is he was staying in the United States until the baby was born. Now I'm afraid we'll have lost him to his digital nomad lifestyle once again.
I think that baby can hold on to him.
Yeah, you know what? Maybe. You might be right. Jeff, always a pleasure. Have a wonderful evening. We'll be back next Wednesday, 1:30 Pacific, 4:30 Eastern, 21:30 UTC. That's when we do this show. And if you would like to watch live and be in the chat room at irc.twit.tv, you would be more than welcome. You could even sit in the studio with us. All you have to do is email tickets@twit.tv and watch any of our shows. Any of our Leo shows. Some of the other shows don't like a live audience. I do. I do. I think they close the studio Thursday and Friday when I'm not around. Because I'm an attention, I want to say. Addict. There, thank you. That's a better word. You can also watch after the fact. Please do subscribe. This is a show that you want to listen to every week. There's Mike Elgin right there. Go to twit.tv/twig. You can download or subscribe there or your favorite podcast application. We're everywhere. Subscribe and you won't miss an episode. We are doing a best of, right, Karsten? Want to encourage everyone to go to twit.tv/best of. For all of our shows during the holidays, we like to give staff and hosts time off. So what we do is we put together the best moments from the previous year, and we'd love your help in doing that. You note it says in the submissions, things like air date, time into episode, where in the episode, why, what happened. Just fill in whatever you can. You don't have to give us any of that stuff. Why do we require their name? Oh, to thank them? You know what? It is not required. None of this is required. Give us what you can. I would presume you would know the name of the show. But if you didn't, and you just went there and you said, why? Remember that time when Leo stood on the table and it broke? You could put that, and that would help us. So ignore the required. I don't even know why it's there. Take the asterisks off. Any help at all would be wonderful. But here's the one thing that is required. It should be from the year 2016. Otherwise, it won't be the best of this year. And then we'll see those episodes the day from Christmas Day through New Year's Day, something like that, the week after Christmas. Thanks for being here. Twit.tv/best of if you want to help us out there. Thanks for being here. We'll see you next time on Twig. Bye-bye.